Well, some of you might remember Winston Peters. Do you remember that? And there was an organization called, oh God, what was it called? Who would know? Oh, Jon Reeves might know. John, I hear you went to New Zealand's first big meeting.
Yes, of course, Max. I went down to Christchurch last weekend to see what was happening in New Zealand first, and it was great. It was very positive and upbeat, just like myself normally.
So it was a good turnout, I hear. I could see it on the television. Looked like you had more than 30 people there.
Now, this is not for the conspiracy theorists out there, but before Winston spoke in his grand speech, I got up and actually counted. There was over 460 people in the room. I walked up to the journalist and said, "How many do you think's here? 500?" And one of them answered back, 250. So I said, no, 80. And what do you know? They started saying 200 or 250 people there.
So there must be some money in the coppers for you guys to pay all that amount of people to turn up.
No, they came up there due to the passion and concern that this government is not actually doing what the people wanted, and that National Act, Greens and Maori Party are not very good and not up to party to do anything. So they need New Zealand first there.
Whoa, John, you're so brave saying that on whatever network this is. But
you, me, and 6 other viewers, including your wife, will be really enjoying this.
Or your friends and family. Let's get back to it.
Well, then you, me, and one other person.
We need to remember Winston Peters brought this government in. He had a chance. The majority was with National, and he chose to go with Labor instead and put them into power.
I'm not going to interrupt you, because sometimes I interrupt you. I'll let you say your statement. Now, I'll just correct you with facts. Thank you for that statement, but now for the facts. In the last government, Max, 409,000 National Party supporters thought Labor was so good, they voted Labor into the position where she is today and voted New Zealand First out. So that had nothing to do with New Zealand First.
No, John, didn't I mention someone put her into power?
The absolute majority of the House, which she has today. That was National Party voters. Now, I ask you this.
Who put her into power? John, you're not answering the question.
What's your question?
Who put her into power in the start with? Who put the Labor government into power?
Okay,
Winston did. The Kingmaker.
That question, but I'll paraphrase in a way that you can understand, and so you don't make a mistake again. In 2017, for a good year prior to the election, did National Party not publicly say more than a dozen times they would not work with New Zealand First? Am I not correct?
I don't know. I don't belong to the National Party. I don't follow
history books, because many times Bill English said he would not work with New Zealand First. Then it came to the negotiations, and suddenly National wants to work with New Zealand First. Now, the fact of the matter is, back in 2017, National was falling to bits. And you can see it by the fact they've had 6 leaders in 6 years. They were falling to bits. And you'll notice in the 3 years that New Zealand First was in, actually things went really smoothly.
No, let's put that in place. Labor was in, and they made it, the Kingmaker made Labor.
I'll let you say in a second, there was no ute taxes. There was no fart taxes. There was no taxes on a myriad of things that are happening now. There was no 3 witters. There was no co-governance. There was no racial separatism agenda. That was all out of the sight, because it was all killed off pretty quickly by New Zealand First. Now, as soon as the National Party voters put the Labour Party PM Jacinda in 2020 in full control, guess what we've got? Co-governance, 3 waters, a $30 billion slow tram to the airport that Wayne Brown has now killed successfully. It's not going anywhere. And a myriad of other things, including the tax on farmers. Now, that's National Party members' fault, because even a safe national electorate like Southland
let me say this. Labor. The Labor government wouldn't be in place today unless the Kingmaker put her into place.
No,
and that is your leader.
And
Winston Peters did that. How's Shane Jones going, by the way? Let's get off that, because I keep repeating myself and you don't listen. How's Shane Jones going?
Okay, you're a lot older than me, and I know that hearing aids are an option.
How's Shane Jones going?
Shane is great. Shane is absolutely on fire. And the great thing to see was that New Zealand First has a whole host of MPs ready to go with experience of being in Parliament.
Oh, Tracy Martin's
maybe
back.
I'll be joining them next time as well.
Who's that defence fellow that was really good in your party? There was
Ron Mark.
Tracy
and Ron
Martin
Mark,
and
yes, he's
Rod
won.
Marks. Yeah, are they back?
No, Ron Mark has just
They're
won.
not back. Neither
He's
of them
just
back.
won the mayoral. He's just won as mayor of Carterton last week. So he's taken that away from someone who thought they're going to win.
So he
easily.
didn't go to the conference either.
No, he's just taken over the mayoral chains of Carterton.
And I see
But
on
Jenny Marcroft, Shane
yeah,
Jones,
but I see
Winston
Tracy
Peters,
Martin was on the television on the weekend. What happened to her?
Derek
She
Bell.
wasn't there either.
No, sorry, Derek Bull and Fletcher Tabato were there. So we've got 6 MPs with experience, unlike ACT MPs.
I've never
We've
heard
got
of these
6
people.
MPs.
Were they've been a parliament before?
Yes, we have 6 MPs who have
Never
experience,
heard of them.
unlike ACT, and ready to go. So next year, watch out, New Zealand First is back, and it's pretty safe to say that National and Labor better become, well, actually National better learn about getting rid of co-governance if they want to work with.
Well, the big question is this.
New
Is
Zealand
Winston
First.
Peters going to stand in Tauranga? Because that seat is not that strong for National right now.
I don't know if you saw the news today, but there's going to be a by-election very soon in Hamilton West. And so you may.
Can you answer one of my questions? Just one? Just one?
Which one?
You've even forgotten what I said.
Tauranga. Look.
Is Winston Peters going to stand in Tauranga?
Winston Peters is the leader of New Zealand First. His job is to reach all New Zealanders across all of New Zealand.
You're still not answering the question. You should be a
being the leader
politician.
and doing it. There are plenty
Is
of
Winston
capable
Peters going to
candidates
stand
around-
in Tauranga?
There are plenty of capable candidates within New Zealand First to stand in Tauranga.
You're still
or
not
anywhere
answering
else.
the question, folks.
Well,
I'll
why
ask it
should he
again.
stand in
One more
Tauranga?
time.
Why?
Is Winston Peters going to stand in Tauranga? That's 4 times I've asked.
I don't see the advantage of him standing there. What do you see an advantage of him standing there?
I asked you the question 4 times, and you still haven't answered it.
I said, look, I don't see the advantage of him standing there.
Is that a no or yes, or don't you know? You don't
No,
know.
I would bet he wouldn't be there because he is needed in Invercargill, Greymouth, Christchurch, New Plymouth, Stratford, Northland. He's needed everywhere. And
Where's
when
Shane
you become
Jones
the
standing?
MP of Tauranga, you're nailed into that seat, like Sam Uffendell is.
Do you know what? ACT wouldn't have 9 people in Parliament today if their leader hadn't stood for a seat and won it. He's got Epson. So is Shane Jones standing in a seat, you know?
Look, we're still 12 months away, unless Jacinda calls a snap election, which is a high possibility. So the whole decision on who stands where, look, I'm going to stand somewhere.
Let's back up the bus. Are you predicting an early election?
I would predict Labor is going to have such a hard time that Jacinda, in panicking mode, will call a snap election. Yeah, I think it will happen well before November next year.
Where? November next year?
No, it'll happen before November next year. I believe she'll call it early, and she may well call a snap election next year because she is seeing her ratings and everything Jacinda and Labor touch is collapsing, whether it's crime, ram raids, children without food, homelessness, you name it. Everything Labor is involved in is a failure.
Jon Reeves and Max Whitehead have agreed on something. That's something really good. That's the only thing we've agreed on so far. Well, look, John, that's really good talking to you. And you've made a huge prediction, which I haven't really thought about too much. So there was rumors that the Prime Minister was looking for a overseas position, and she's lobbying like hell over there now for it. So who knows?
Well, look, the room was packed out in Christchurch the other day with close to 500 people, despite what Stuff says. And all 500 of us would eagerly put our money in our pockets to buy her a ticket to Geneva or New York.
He's so kind. What about me?
Well, no, I like the YouTube videos with you, so we'll keep you here for a while. Yeah.
Good to see you, John. See you next week.
All right, see ya.